A Bywater homeowner says that squatters hijacked his home, and so far there's nothing anybody can do about it. Neighbors say that they're being terrorized by the group. Rob Masson has more in this Fox 8 Defenders report.
He is a homeowner at wit's end.
It's a little bit of anger, a little bit of confusion. It seems unfair that a property owner would have to go through something like this.
Frederick Hines is trying to sell his home in the 3400 block of North Rampart Street, but he says squatters have moved in, changed the locks, and abused his realtor.
Normally should happen is you'd be able to just snatch them out and put them on the street.
But so far, police haven't done that, even though one neighbor says he witnessed a crime.
I live right next door, yeah, and it was about a week before Mardi Gras when they broke into the house. They jumped the fence, they kicked in the door, and they settled there.
The squatters put up a no trespassing sign and a notation indicating they're part of a group called Ouachita Muir Nation.
They had a story saying that they were the owner. That's what they were telling the police before. When I served the eviction papers, then their story changed. The story is saying now they want to own the land.
It is a group that claims ancient land rights in Louisiana, and they have been investigated by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
My thoughts is that these people have performed a criminal act, and our police department refused to support the neighbors or the homeowner.
Neighbors say they feel threatened.
It terrorizes us. I mean, we're afraid to leave our homes.
It's scary because I live right next door to them, and they just barged in and took over the house.
The homeowner has tax records, which he says proves it's his home. He just paid a tax bill of more than $5,000 to the city and has filed paperwork in civil court to try and have the squatters removed.
But I should go to court and go through the process of eviction. And then once the paperwork are in, then they would have ground to stand on to pull the people out. So we're in that process now.
Meantime, Frederick Hines can't sell the house he says he legally owns since squatters won't let him in. The New Orleans Police Department says its investigation is ongoing and that they are working to gather as much evidence as possible to make a determination in this case. We've also reached out to the city to see if there's anything it can do on the homeowner's behalf, but have so far not heard back.
In a follow-up to our Fox 8 Defenders report on squatters in the Bywater, a raid of the home squatters occupied on North Rampart Street leads to 4 arrests. Rob Masson joins us now live from the Bywater with the story.
Nancy, a lot of neighbors here in the Bywater are relieved but curious. It has been 11 days since a group identifying itself as members of the Ouachita Muir Nation moved into a man's home, changed all the locks, and put up no trespassing signs. For the last 11 days, Bywater residents have worried about the presence of a group of squatters in a North Rampart Street home that was being sold. This afternoon around 2 p.m., the NOPD was joined by state police and Homeland Security in clearing the property of 4 squatters.
And the message is clear. No one should be able to move into someone else's house and take it over. And so while the civil proceeding is still underway, we feel that the message is clear. We're not going to allow anybody to terrorize any citizen living in this city and take over their property and just move in and claim it as their own.
The squatters, 3 men and a woman, claim to be members of a group calling itself Ouachita Muir Nation. They have been arrested and charged with criminal trespass.
We know that they are claiming to be part of a sovereign citizen society where they have no regard, respect for any local, state, or federal laws.
The group moved in on the Friday before Mardi Gras, changed the locks, and put up no trespassing signs.
I want to take it to the extent of the law and make sure this sticks and get them whatever comes to them for doing this. No one should have to go through this. No homeowner should have to go through this.
Neighbors now relieved they're gone.
I was afraid that this would drag on forever. Yeah, because the occupiers were very stubborn and articulate in a weird way.
And New Orleans police have named 2 of the 4 people arrested. The first is 24-year-old Devin Garner. The second is 18-year-old Dana Maria Thornton. Now, Police Chief Harrison says they couldn't move in any sooner because they had to review paperwork handed over by the group before the city attorney. Once the city attorney found that their claim to this property was baseless. Then police were able to move in and make their arrest. They are now investigating claims that some squatters, perhaps these squatters, have laid claim to 4 other properties in this area. From the Bywater, Rob Masson, Fox 8 News.
This incident is expected to bring a lot of people out to tonight's Bywater Neighborhood Association meeting. It starts at 6:30 at Blessed Francis Xavier Silos Catholic Church on Dauphine Street. We'll show you what comes out of this meeting tonight at 9 and 10.
Good evening. I'm John Snell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. The removal of 4 squatters in Bywater brings a sense of relief to many who live nearby.
The NOPD arrested the 4 this afternoon. In this Fox 8 Defenders follow-up, Meg Gatto tells us why it took almost 2 weeks to get them out and explains why neighbors don't like what's left behind.
At Tuesday night's Bywater Neighborhood Association meeting, homeowners compared squatting stories.
I have seen the ones, there's no Independent, MRA, and they've been there over almost 3 years.
They're around. We've got, low lights all over the place.
Earlier in the afternoon, NOPD officers raided this home on North Rampart to kick out 4 people holed up inside since the Friday before Mardi Gras. The 3 men and 1 woman, members of a group called Ouachita Mir Nation.
All of the stuff you see on the floor is not mine, it was theirs.
In the 11 days they lived inside, they changed the locks to Fred Hines' home and moved in a pool table, mattresses, and personal belongings. In the mess left behind, we found concert tickets, bank cards, and even a book titled How to Hustle and Win.
No one should have to go through this. No homeowner should have to go through this.
The home was up for sale. Hines lives in California. His neighbors and realtor noticed the squatters.
The occupiers were very stubborn and articulate in a weird way.
Hines flew to New Orleans to deal with the situation, but when he first called police, the group wasn't kicked out.
We had an officer who came over here to investigate, was given a legal document by one of the persons inside, or what appeared to be a legal document.
Chief Michael Harrison says the city attorney determined the document was a fake. A search warrant and arrest warrants were obtained, which led to Tuesday's actions.
Now it's time to clean up and move on from there.
Hines says he now has plans to install a security system in an attempt to keep the home safe while he heads back to California. The Ouachita Mir Nation is a sovereign citizens group that, according to Chief Harrison, has no regard for state or local laws. Only 2 of the people arrested have so far been identified by police. They're 18-year-old Dana Maria Thornton and 24-year-old Devin Garner. Lee?
The group of people police removed this week in Bywater are part of a larger group claiming other nearby homes.
It's a situation that's not isolated to just Orleans Parish. Shelley Brown explains in this Fox 8 Defenders follow-up.
We've seen it in rural areas, and so we're now beginning to see it in urban populations here in New Orleans.
New Orleans Police Chief Michael Harrison says officers arrested 4 people for criminal trespassing after they occupied Frederick Hines' North Rampart Street home, claiming it was their own.
All of the stuff you see on the floor is not mine, it was theirs.
Police removed bank cards, a book titled How to Hustle and Win, even a mattress. All of it taken in for evidence.
It seems unfair that a property owner would have to go through something like this from somebody who has no right to it.
Hines lives in California. His New Orleans home is up for sale. The 3 men and 1 woman not only changed his locks right before Mardi Gras, they removed his for sale sign and posted their own signs which read, "No trespassing. Ouachita Mir, federal offense to ignore." Before police raided the place, we met with Hines, who shared his recent $5,000 property tax receipt and a group of fired-up neighbors looking for answers.
We're walking to the back.
I tried knocking on the front door to talk to the group, but got no answer.
The message is clear. No one should be able to move into someone else's house and take it over.
But neighbors say it's happening, and it's going on right now.
So they're around. We've got, low lights all over the place.
A few blocks away on Independence and Murray.
What I have seen the ones, there's no Independent, MRA, and they've been there over almost 3 years.
The corner home that's hard to miss is one of the places. Neighbors say the real homeowner passed away and someone else moved in. Notice the no trespassing sign, but in the window, a familiar one that reads, "Property claimed by Muir Nation," the same name the group in Hines' North Rampart Street home used. And that's not the only one. A block away, in the window of this narrow yellow shotgun, we found another similar sign, "Property claimed by Ouachita Muir." We watched a couple, a man and a woman, leave out of there on bikes. A man who didn't want to be identified says people claiming to be a part of this same group complicated the sale of a property he recently purchased in the area. After he bought it, he says one man had been using his home for storage and refused to move out.
We got information from Homeland Security and the FBI. We know that they are claiming to be part of a sovereign citizen society where they have no regard or respect for any local, state, or federal laws.
In Jefferson Parish, Kyron Hunter is awaiting trial on theft charges after he advertised and rented out properties he didn't own in neighborhoods from Gretna to Harvey.
And I paid $1,050 a month rent to him, and now I got to move. I was highly upset. I already told him he was wrong for taking advantage of a senior citizen.
Before his arrest, Hunter became the subject of a series of reports in our Fox 8 Defenders rental scam investigation. Besides Jalinda Harrison, a retired school teacher, 2 other families say they were victims of the same man and the same scam. Lakeitha Bailey, a single mother of 4, and Katina Carter, a wife and mother. Her family was hit with an eviction notice, giving her 72 hours to move out.
But I contacted the deputy sheriff, and he told me that no one is supposed to be living in the house. The bank repossessed it, and it's supposed to be vacant.
The people who believed Hunter was the owner say he had keys to the properties, leases that looked legitimate, and repair crews available at any time.
You can't simply say because I've been in possession, because I have mowed the lawn, because I've made some fix, I am now the owner. Our law requires that you be in possession, but you be in possession for 30 years.
Like the group arrested this week in New Orleans, authorities in JP say Hunter claimed to be a sovereign citizen and filed questionable documents into the public record trying to prove ownership.
We're looking at this at the national level right now as to what the various jurisdictions in the states can do, is to perhaps craft some kind of legislation which would allow us to refuse these documents.
While the charges in both cases may seem minor, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has monitored similar sovereign citizen groups, says not all are dangerous or engaging in illegal activity, but some have records of being criminally dangerous. Kyron Hunter pleaded not guilty to several theft charges. His trial date set for April. His defense attorney, Joe Marino, says Hunter didn't intend to harm any of the people he rented to, and he'll work to make sure no one renting from him is out of any money. If you've got a consumer concern, call the Fox 8 Defenders, staffed with volunteers from the National Council of Jewish Women, or you can also fill out our online complaint form at fox8live.com. For the Defenders, I'm Shelley Brown. A group of squatters pled guilty in December to criminal trespassing after taking over a Bywater man's home earlier this year.
It seems unfair that a property owner would have to go through something like this from somebody who has no right to it.
The Fox 8 Defenders were first to expose the group that removed Frederick Hines' for sale sign and posted their own signs which read "No Trespassing, Ouachita Muir." Before police raided the place, Hines showed us his $5,000 property tax receipt to prove the property was his.
We're walking to the back.
I tried knocking on the front door to talk to the group, but got no answer. Days later, all 4 were in handcuffs.